Hello, hello. Are you the only one here, Matthias?
Yes.
Okay. Have we heard anything from anyone else? Kara is coming. Hey, Kara. Hello. Do you hear us, Kara?
Hello, how are you?
Hi. Just fine.
Good.
And you?
Good. You are a huge black dot on floating above the earth.
Sorry, are you floating above there? Okay, yeah, I meant. That is
That kind of a day, huh?
I don't know where that came from. I'm black and floating. Yeah, that's right. I need to change that. I'm so concerned that I cannot use the Zoom client on my desktop. I need to use the Zoom plugin the web client. It's not at all good.
Do you have permissions to handle the recording and to post it on the CDF YouTube channel?
I think that I got that permission like half a year ago. I have never tried it. So it could be that since I didn't access and try it, I maybe have that might have elapsed that permission. I don't know, but I know that Andrea can do it at least.
Okay.
So I guess he can do it afterwards as well. Or why you ask?
No, I think we're trying to figure out a good system. So far, it's been Roxanne who does it, and I think sometimes she's not sure if people want the meetings uploaded, and I think it just ends up to be a lot. And we had discussed having the meeting hosts do that, and you can just stream it directly to YouTube. I don't know if you are uploading these now or if Roxanne is. I think I've seen some, but maybe it's from the actual event SIG meeting that I'm thinking.
I think that actually Andrea uploads some of them, or I thought most of them, but I actually don't.
Perfect. So, well, if he's happy with that process and he has permissions, then that.
I think he wants it to be a lot more automized, but I don't know.
Oh, okay. It could be just streamed directly to YouTube, and then it's on YouTube as a recording as well. So maybe that would work better for him. And I don't know if he needs additional privileges or something to enable him to do it.
Stream it directly from the meeting, you mean? So you don't even need to upload it yourself, or?
Yes, that's exactly it.
Okay. Maybe we should have a note on that. We had a chat in Slack with Roxanne some time ago.
Yes.
So maybe we should have that again then and talk about how we can do it nowadays.
Okay. That sounds good.
I can revive that chat and see what happens.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I'll jump in too if need be. And are you all submitting talks for KubeCon? Because for KubeCon Europe, they're due at the end of the week. Just a reminder.
I've seen that. I did not intend actually to provide a talk, but I hope that someone else would. And I know that Andrea and Eric will provide a talk to FOSDEM.
Okay, great.
And or they at least plan to do it. And I hope that they will provide the same talk to KubeCon, but I don't really know. And I guess if I would provide a talk, it would be the same more or less. So, and they volunteered to do it. They were more eager than I was. So maybe I should have just ping people on SIG Events channel again to see that they don't forget about it. Because no one has really responded, I think, to my post there.
Yeah.
I believe. No one has. So end of the week, it's December 17th. Yeah, right. I can check with Andrea on that one as well. Just making some notes for myself now. Will you propose anything, Kara?
I was wondering about it, but at this point it's a little bit late, and it would be better as a pair because they almost always. Oh, Andrea's not coming today. Okay. I think they prefer paired talks, but it's a little late in the day at this point. It's been a bit hectic. So I don't know. Let's see what other people have said. Yeah, no one's responded to your call. That was good to do.
No. Yeah, I can bring it up again. There. I also saw that there was a request from Oleg to what was it about really? A budget issue. He wanted project ideas for providing budget.
Yeah.
And of course,
Plushies for everyone.
yeah, we shouldn't lose that opportunity maybe, but I'm not sure really what to say about it. What we can propose.
Stickers?
Sorry, stickers?
Yeah. I mean, in conference events are coming back, and that's always a good one. People love the stickers.
Oh yeah, oh, yeah. I'm not sure if that's what he's after.
That's what he meant. Okay.
Sticker project. No, I don't think so.
It's funny, I saw that before and I saw the joke about the plushies and then I can't find it again. That's so funny. Is it on this channel, the Event SIG channel, the budget?
Yeah, the SIG Events is back.
Okay.
Oleg pasted it December 7th, a week ago.
Okay, right.
I just pasted the day after my
Right.
entry there.
Was there not a chat on it? Did not people reply? I thought I'd seen replies.
No one replied to it. No, so no chat started.
Somewhere Andreas actually made the joke about plushies. Maybe it was in the talk channel actually.
Okay. So
the talk channel has posts by Oleg and then Andrea. Tech and plushes for everyone.
Yeah.
And also swag there for the CDF projects. So that's fine. It's already mentioned.
Right. Yeah, swag. Okay, good.
What happens with the swag? Does it Oleg comment on that? No.
Yeah, I think he says it's actually allocated somewhere else. He's very serious. I love how he takes it really seriously. It's so nice. It's just like really precise. Yeah, security audits would be cool for stuff. Yeah, the average budget. Okay. Yes, sorry, go on, please.
No problem. I'm not sure what we should really bring up today. I was hoping for some more persons. I'm hoping for Eric and Andrea, but I saw in the chat that Andrea couldn't join. I'm not really sure what we should look into with just these few people.
Okay, I have a call, a request, and I think it's been voiced already. But one of the things we're looking for in the new year with the launch of the CD Events project is quotes from involved members of the SIG, and to start with, and then we'll be building out with additional quotes from just supporting like companies and community members. But we kind of want to have a base set of quotes from you all, really. So I guess start thinking about what you would like to say about CD Events, why it's important, why you're excited to be working on it, how you see it evolving, and I will send around a doc asking for this. Is probably the easiest way to do it. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sure. So send the link, I guess, in the chat there.
Okay.
I think we did something similar for the SIG Interop last year, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that sounds about right.
Wasn't that for when we created the SIG events, maybe?
Yeah, of course it was more or less the same time frame, but I think we actually had some end of year thing for SIG events, didn't we? Where we provided some quotes, or maybe I missed some.
No, I think that it happens often when we're trying to announce a new initiative or a project, because it's much more interesting than marketing copy, obviously, and it sounds much more engaging and precise, and it's nice to let the people who are building out the technologies to speak and explain what they're excited about, and I think that is both more informative and just generally lands better. So that is what we're looking for. Does that make sense?
Sure it does. So will you make a post in the channel, or?
Yeah, I will. I'll make a post in the channel. I'll just make up the doc and then write something up.
No
worries.
Sounds good. I will try to. So how soon do you want to be an answer on it? Is it before New Year's or?
No, we're only going to do the announcing and stuff in the new year, and probably not January. It's probably going to be February is what we're thinking, but this is flexible. But it's nice to have a base set of quotes and then to be able to go to a wider set of community members who maybe are interested in using CD events, maybe use cloud events already and can see how it would be useful for them, and then have them contribute some additional quotes. But that the quotes from the event SIG would be the core quotes. Does that sound good? So it's not a rush thing. I just, since we had a lull in the meeting, I thought I will say the thing that I want to have happen.
Yeah.
How many quotes do you usually have there? How many do you need?
We could have a number, and especially for a project launch, because we definitely want people to be aware of how much involvement there already is, how much enthusiasm there is for the project. And, we kind of want to like drum up a sense of real movement and engagement. And I think that helps draw in even more people. So we definitely want a number. How are you all feeling about the project launch? Does it seem to all be on track? And
yeah, as far as I can tell, I think it is on track.
okay.
I think it was it Steve who was supposed to initiate a document on it, if I don't remember wrong. I don't have those notes here.
I haven't received anything from Steve. We have something that we're building up internally with the CDF. I guess it'll be a blog post or the announcement. So that's what I'm kind of working on, but I haven't received anything from Steve. Hopefully that would be great to have that as well.
Yeah.
How do you feel the like POCs are going? Are we making them SDKs? Is that the idea, like for cloud events?
To be honest, I don't think there has been too much progress, neither in the POC or in any SDKs in the POC actually recently.
No.
I don't know, Matthias, have you seen anything?
No.
So I think that they are quite silent right now, unfortunately. And with the discussion right now is to make sure that we cover the right use cases when we evolve the POC into new areas.
Mm-hmm.
So defining use cases is actually what we focus on in the SIG meeting, at least right now. And I think also in the vocabulary meeting we had discussed that earlier.
Okay.
So we have actually we have a document where we try to note proposed use cases. I don't know if you have anything from. Of course, Oleg has been there from Jenkins' perspective already. I'm not sure if he added something. Let's see if I can see it.
Is that linked to from the event SIG HackMD notes?
Yes, it's in some of the notes there. It's very short
but not
still.
It's not the SIG note, it's the vocabulary discussion notes.
Okay.
For this meeting.
I can paste it here in the chat as well.
Okay, cool.
Meeting chat. So we have the HackMD link there. And it's only three things there. We talked about 4 keys actually, and that's interesting maybe for you because you were one of those who talked quite a lot about 4 keys.
Yeah.
Ago, right? So
that's
right. One use case we could look into, try to deal with the 4 keys use cases in the protocol as one of the next parts of the POC maybe. That's one idea.
I mean, I think actually that would be a great showing of the use case because from my understanding, when creating the 4 keys project, they had to do a lot of mapping between the different tools they were looking at for showing the metrics and for making the metrics make sense. And I think if we had more standardized data, then that using the 4 keys and comparing between would be much smoother. So it would almost be a back end thing for the 4 keys, but it would be great for that project, I would think.
Of course, it's for notifying things that happens. So it's a, of course, one way, one directional information flow.
Right.
There, I guess. So yeah, and that's, I mean, the captain use case is more involved, where you actually have consumers and then send information back and forth and so on. But for the 4 keys and for other kinds of like visualization and statistics collections and whatever, it's more a one-way thing. But still, it's the same need for events, I would say.
Yes, and I guess
it's good to show that there are several. Yeah,
it shows the 2 different main categories in which events could be really helpful, both in interoperability and then for having more standardized data. That's great for analysis. Yeah, good. And remediation events are not in this. So this is, remediation events are not in the spec yet. Is that in regards to 4 keys?
Actually, maybe it is. I can't really remember where that came from or who wrote it. Do you remember, Matthias?
Is this the? I'm thinking of what they point to remediation. Is that the when issues are created and issues are solved? Is that what they're out for? Because that is something that we don't have.
I don't know if that's what they meant by remediation, but if it was, that would fit with 4 keys.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not issues. Huh. Yeah, interesting. We'll have to see who wrote that and what they meant exactly.
Yeah, but we intend at least to add a use case there from Ericsson perspective on how we use events today, because I think that could be bring in some good insights, and if there is a use case that also others are interested in there.
How are you using events today?
For any purpose, more or less, or for multiple purposes. So we both have these statistics collections, and we are more or less starting to use it as not yet machine learning basis, but at least collecting a lot of data from the CI/CD flows, both for statistical reasons and then for different analysis, and for visualization. So visualization is a big use case where we can follow like a commit through the flow, how it passes through different steps and so on. But then we also use it for triggering other parts of the pipelines or other parts of the production system that we call it.
Yeah, that would be really nice to have a write-up of how you're using it, because that shows, again, those 2 main use cases for events in general and then CD events.
Yeah.
Are you using this instead of Eiffel, or is it both together?
We haven't started using CD events yet,
Okay.
but we use Eiffel a lot. So Eiffel is what we use for the events today.
Okay.
But we look forward to replacing it, I guess, with CD events eventually when it becomes mature and complete enough.
Okay.
And for sure, when the tools that we use have native support for CD events, that's of course a very big business case for bringing that in.
Right.
So we don't need to have our own adapters on top of existing tools.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the plan, actually. I mean, you don't have to confirm that, but the general movement is towards, I guess, retiring Eiffel and using events in Isilur.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hope, at least from us, as me and Matthias, who are in this community, and otherwise we shouldn't really probably be here. But it remains to be seen, of course, if the CD events will fly and if it will be implemented as a native thing in all tools.
Yeah.
Because if it won't, then of course there's maybe no major reason to migrate from Eiffel to something else that is not supported anyway.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay.
But we still hope for it to be supported, of course, and that's a major reason for.
Yes, but you are now widely using cloud events.
No, actually not. So Eiffel is not based on cloud events. It wasn't. Cloud events wasn't around when Eiffel was first created, and then we haven't made the effort to migrate it to cloud events either. I don't think it would be such a huge thing to do, but at the same time, we might not focus on that since SIG Events is coming, or seems to be coming at least. So I guess we will stick with what we have. We haven't really seen so far the big benefits to using cloud events as an infrastructure part under Eiffel yet, because we don't really. I mean, there are benefits to using cloud events, of course, but we haven't really seen those benefits large enough to put an effort in migrating the Eiffel system, so to say, to using cloud events.
Right. But you feel
the event definitions are actually not really, they're not dependent on any messaging infrastructure at all. So they can, I mean, we define JSON schemas and JSON data blobs, and they could probably quite easily be put into cloud events with not too much effort, I would say.
Right. So you could easily convert what you're doing with Eiffel to cloud events, should you wish, because that is supported. So I'm just wondering, because that is quite, I thought, quite stable and supported at this point.
Cloud events, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. So
but
I think it was it like a year ago or something that it was released in the 1.0 version, or maybe even earlier, or maybe it was even 2 years ago. Yeah, it has been around for some while, and I think quite a lot of tools support cloud events nowadays. So still, I think that's the future. But we also discussed in the SIG Events groups that we haven't that we don't want to tie ourselves too hard into cloud events either. So I mean, we need to make it possible to adapt to something else if something else pops up, and maybe cloud events won't be the architecture for all kind of infrastructures either. We don't know. I mean, it's primarily used by cloud tools today. So maybe for the embedded use case, for example, it might not be. I don't know. I think cloud events works there as well, but there might be other ways to do it. So we shouldn't at least be tied to it too hard, because that might not be the best thing for SIG events.
Right. And yeah, we might not want to always be addressing just cloud use cases either. But you all feel you feel that at Ericsson, you feel that SIG events will give you more motivating value than cloud events then does. That's the assumption.
Yeah, I mean, the cloud events doesn't really provide any standardization at all on the data part. It's only an event framework, I would say. So of course you get some meta data prepared for you and defined, but the whole data bodies are undefined in cloud events, and that's what we now will do with SIG events on top of cloud events to define the data bodies for different items to have in these events. And that's the crucial part of Eiffel as well, to actually standardize on the data parts. So we use the same parameters all over. And without that, there's not really standardization. I mean, the cloud events has one meta layer, so to say. All events just convert to that, and then you can send whatever in your data. And that whatever is what needs to be standardized so that consumers can understand what the producers say.
Okay. I love that you're using the lessons learned with Eiffel to build our
that's one of our major contributions, I would say, since we have been using event-driven systems and event notifying systems for quite long. I think we can contribute with those experiences. We have, as I guess you know, that we have mostly been involved in embedded systems so far, but we have quite a lot of cloud deployments as well nowadays, and we are moving there, of course, quite heavily. We still think that Eiffel is valuable or is possible to use also in a cloud world, but it wasn't really intended for it in the beginning. So there are, of course, some maybe event names and parameter names in the Eiffel standard that are more dedicated to non-cloud systems. And that's also one reason for migrating away from it, because we see that the cloud is the future also for Ericsson products. And therefore it's good to be aligned with the ways of working in the cloud world, to say, also when it comes to the events in the production system.
Right. Nice. Thank you. That actually gives me a very good, better contextual understanding of your goals here. You know?
Yeah, glad to hear. Yeah. No, but we're very much wanting to contribute here, of course, and we of course want the success of this protocol to be there. Yeah. So how is it now? Are you employed by CDF nowadays, or are you in Cloud Events still, or where are you really employed?
I am employed by CDF right now. Yeah.
By CDF, okay. Yeah. But you're still working in the Jenkins community as well, or what is your focus open source wise?
No, I because when I switched from CloudBees to CDF, my role changed and my involvement with the Jenkins project kind of necessarily reduced. I mean, no more involved with that than any of the other projects. And in fact, my role for 2 months, I've only been here 2 months, but my role has not been that project engaged, except I said that I think we all believe that CD Events as a project is really interesting, and it's grown out of the CDF, and it kind of shows the sort of work that you should be doing in open source foundations. And we hope that it will make a great impact, and the protocol will be widely adopted and all these things. So I volunteered to do what I could to help with the promotion and the launch and things like that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's funny. I think the role is continuing to evolve in many ways.
So what is your role description really, or what is your main focus then in
ecosystem advocate? But okay, then I think I assumed it was developer relations more, because that's usually what I'm recruited for. But actually, it turns out ecosystem advocate means a lot more communication with member companies, and that's been really interesting. And certainly, I would hope to involve our member companies as much as possible in our open source projects. And there's a lot of interest there too. So that kind of works really well. You know, that kind of movement works well and feels natural for me. But beyond that, I think we're seeing how things evolve, because things are changing all the time.
Yeah, of course. Yes, that's the world around us is changing all the time. Yeah, great.
God, do you all have good plans for Christmas?
They are not too fixed yet, unfortunately. Probably my parents will come here, but it's a question on my mother and father-in-law how we should do with those. They are not really as mobile as they used to be. So we're thinking of how we can see them during Christmas. But at least still we are allowed to meet people. There was actually rumors today that there might be even further restrictions coming next week due to the COVID situation, of course. Because in Norway, I don't know if you hear, but in Norway, our neighbor country seems to be the worst in Europe nowadays.
Yeah,
when it comes to the
are you in Sweden then?
Yeah, we're in Sweden, yeah.
Okay.
Both me and Matthias.
Okay.
So nice. We're quite close to Norway, but so far it's increasing in Sweden as well, but not that bad so far.
Oh, it's terrible in the UK, and London's the worst, of course. So
yeah, okay.
I feel like I'm back on Plague Island.
Oh wow.
But it'll be one of those quiet indoors Christmas, and have just a nice tree and lots of cookies, and that will be it. I don't think I'll be going to many gatherings, and in fact, like you have mentioned, in all likelihood there'll be additional restrictions. Either they're hoping not to do it for Christmas itself because they don't want to disappoint people. Essentially, it's a completely political decision, but they think that right after Christmas they're going to do a snap shutdown. So we'll see. We'll see how it evolves.
So they wait until Christmas is over, then they shut down everything.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much what they did last year, more or less. But it will be more open. I think their hope is it will be more open for Christmas, and then there will be. They've already hinted in the press, and it's funny because they usually hint in the press like 3 days out, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty far in advance if that's what you're planning on doing. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. So you won't meet your relatives, will you? Or
no, a lot of my family is in the States. So actually, I just came back from the States. I saw my parents, and that was really nice, because I haven't seen them very much, in the last couple of years. So that was a real pleasure to see them. Yeah, funny time.
When were you last back in the US then?
Well, okay, so I said that, but I actually went last summer. But previous to last summer, it had been 2 years.
Okay. That's quite long, actually.
Yeah, it's a long time. But it was almost impossible to take a flight, or seemed like a very bad idea. And the last thing I wanted to do was, bring this to my parents accidentally. That would have been
of course.
Yeah. But hopefully it'll all get better, more vaccines, more treatments. Eventually this will get better.
Yeah.
And we have good things. I'm sorry?
Yeah, I'm just making some notes down in the vocabulary meetings minutes, if you wonder why I'm silent. So go ahead. Yeah.
I know. I didn't realize you were on that page because it's not up on the screen, but I'll take a peek through.
Yeah. So sorry, you were saying something. I interrupted you.
No, I was just saying that, it'll get better, and we have good things in the new year to look forward to anyways. Yeah.
Very, very small comments right now in the meeting minutes. At least anything, so people can see what we at least touched upon.
I will add to this with a link to the doc for quotes. I'll probably get that up this week or next, and I'll just add it in here.
Just on another topic and subject, Kara, do you know call for papers and so on for the CDCon conference? Is that like far away, or is it soonish, or?
It opens in the beginning of January. January 10th, I believe, is our date we're aiming for. So those tracks are being finalized right now, and then the CFP opens January 10th. And we definitely want you all to submit. We're very, very excited. We want to do a big push for CD events. So, and submit on other topics as well. But it should be a great conference. I'm very happy it's going to be in person, and we'll do a hybrid, in person and virtual. So covering all use cases there.
Where will location be? Is it in central US or?
It is. It's in central US. It's actually going to be in Texas.
In Texas, yeah. Oh, okay, maybe I saw that in Austin, right? Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Correct. So
the nice thing there is it will be a joint conference with OpenJS, and actually, I don't know if that's of interest to you at all, but your tickets for one conference will be accepted at both conferences, so that's quite fun. And we're hoping to do at least one joint track. It won't show in the CFPs, but we'll have similar space covered in the CFPs, and then we'll see how the talks, the submissions we get. But the aspiration is to do a joint track on automation and testing, and or security and supply chain security. So we'll see.
So what are all the tracks for the CityCon? Is there some track very related to events, or is it more general?
So I'm glad you asked. Let me pull up the doc, right?
Maybe they're not official.
Well, they're not official yet, but I'm happy to share. I don't, nothing. It's not
because
private,
whatever you
right?
say now will become official through YouTube. So
I'm about to share my screen. I just have to find the right tab. Oh my gosh. Okay, so okay, I will actually share my screen because it's perfectly acceptable. Okay, so we had some actual track ideas, but it just became a little bit, well, I'll get your feedback. These were the track ideas we had developed so far. A leadership track, we had that last year. We want to keep it. A community and culture track. We had a community track last year, but we want it to be not just about open source community, but also internal team culture. So we kind of put those together. The automation and testing code track with OpenJS, the potential security, supply chain security track, which we will definitely have, but potentially with OpenJS, we'll see how that one works out. And policy CI/CD, and it might be policy and governance. There's a little bit of an interoperability maybe element, pulling on from what Santiago was saying in his presentation on In Toto in the interoperability SIG, that there's kind of a movement where security initiatives, we're kind of transforming them from the point of view of DevOps, of users, into policy concerns, which is kind of like, codifying it and making it a policy concern, which is kind of an interesting way to think about that. So there's kind of a security angle there too. Developer experience track. And this is where we were thinking of putting SIG Events, because we think it really improves developer experience, as does interoperability in all sorts of forms. But I did actually mention this in a previous one, maybe it was the SIG Events meeting, but you're welcome to give feedback if you think that is not the right track or not properly surfaced enough. Case studies will be sprinkled throughout. However, there was a lot missing from these tracks, as you can imagine, this and more. So cloud native CD, GitOps, progressive delivery, observability, MLOps, like so many things missing. So we did think, oh, well, maybe instead of trying to group things into tracks, because essentially what submitters look at, they know what they want to talk about. They have their abstract, and by and large, not everyone, but by and large, and they'll find the track when they're filling out the form that best fits it. So what we just want to do is give the tracks are just meant to be guidance. Like in general, this is what we're looking for. You have a better chance of acceptance if you are in these categories. So maybe an easier way to do it, and it maybe covers a broader range, is similar to the way that KubeCon does it, where they have bullet points actually. And I have that here. So, they have a topic now to narrow down the focus, and you choose, in general, one of them. I think that's, oh no. Okay, so these are the ones we were thinking of for us. It's the 101s, leadership, community and culture, cloud native, CD, GitOps, progressive delivery, best practices, MLOps, security, MLOps, observability, performance, security, developer experience and productivity, policy and governance, automation and testing. But if you can think of another one, off your top of your head right now. It's like
I was thinking spontaneously, what about the different categories that we have in the landscape? Wouldn't those more or less be suitable to use as tracks as well? Because we've already there tried to group things together, at least to some input. Maybe that could make sense to focus everything around observability and analytics, for example. That could include events and other things.
Yeah. Okay. So in that case, you would put events within the observability area. Oh, this is changing a little bit. Yeah, this is changing because it's that
okay,
PR.
I'm not sure if it makes sense, but that's at least, I mean, this is a grouping that exists, and I don't know, maybe tracks could be more or less connected to this as well.
Because one of the things that I notice is that when you go through the ones, it's not clear, at least for me, where would you put in like seed events?
Yeah.
So more like, it's maybe too broad, but interruptibility category, because that's probably where seed events would be easier fit into. But maybe that is
in
just
in the tracks, you mean, or in the picture?
Yeah. Oh, as tracks, but maybe that's too broad. Yeah. So
I think interoperability is pretty important. But
yeah, it's all over. It's sprinkled all over more or less.
Yeah.
As well, in some sense. But for sure, events would fit in interoperability if there were such a track, I think.
Where is it? It might be on another. It might be on this doc. Also, for CD events, I just want you to know we have put it right here, alphabetical order, so you're right on top. So I'm pretty excited. So there will be a section for submitters to say which of the projects their talk relates to, or they can choose another. And you know, I guess there'll be a text box they can write in what it would be. So CD events will be certainly within the format to choose. And this will be seen on the website as well. But yeah, it's interesting where to put interoperability, because I think Tracy was thinking developer experience is where she would have put that, and kind of also CD events within that. But it is, I think, quite fun to surface it a little bit more.
To me, it's a bit broader than developer experience, or maybe not. Maybe that's another dimension, just. But
yeah,
I wouldn't say it doesn't fit at all, but it's kind of another dimension.
Right.
About the talks, by the way, you said that the event itself would be a hybrid event. Is it so that the talks could be hybrid as well, or is it also that the presenters should all be in person, or?
What the feedback we've received so far is that for hybrid events, what people in the room don't want to do is sit in the room and watch a recorded talk. So there's a little bit of a movement against having that happen. So having virtual speakers, but you could do virtual live, although that just seems like more difficult for the speaker without that much more of a benefit, is my personal opinion on that one. But given that we've had that feedback, I think there is a movement to try and have, I guess, in-person live speakers instead of pre-recorded talks, which I realize does make it difficult because one, you have to fly over, and that's a whole effort. And then also, you know, there is an ongoing pandemic. So I guess to a certain extent we'll play it by ear, but I would imagine, given that that's been spoken of, I would imagine that's going to show up in the CFP that, you know, in an ideal world, we would want the speakers to be live. So
because I guess when the CFP is out, maybe it's good to state if that's an option or not to be remote, or if in person is the only option. I guess it would be good to have stated when the CFP is out.
Yeah, I think that is.
At least personally, I'm a bit reluctant to traveling, not just for the pandemic, but that's one reason, I guess. So I mean, it costs some business days to travel, and not the least for the time difference. It costs even more to adjust and so on. So I guess the CityCon, is it 2 or 3 days? So how long is it planned for?
It's at least 2 days, and I would imagine they're going to be co-located and day zero events as well. So probably up to 4 days all in. But certainly,
so it will be a full week more or less when you're off work, or off normal work. And that's one thing that makes it a bit more difficult, of course, to travel. But I totally see that having presenters remote is not optimal. I don't even think I've attended a hybrid event where the speaker was online and some participants were online and some were offline. or sorry, in person. Have you had some experience in that? How does it work with the interaction with the audience when some are in the room and some are on Zoom or something?
I've had that experience but I was a virtual attendee. So I was watching like a conference recording, you know, someone standing on stage, and then sometimes we would switch to a pre-recorded talk. So I wasn't in the room experiencing it. And for someone sitting on a couch at home, that was fine. I didn't care, but I could see how if you yourself had flown there and were in the event, you would prefer the speakers to be live rather than sitting in, you know, a room in a different country and watching a pre-recorded talk.
Yeah, and I guess if you are a speaker in person, you would, of course, also want an audience with more than 10 people in it or something physically.
Yes.
I mean, 10 people in the room and 1,000 online is not optimal either when you're when you're there physically.
Yes.
So it's hard to get that balance.
Yeah.
Before, of course, you have hard to know where you will end up.
Yeah, it's such a weird time.
Yeah.
So do you feel that CD events is well enough? Like, what category would you choose if you were going to do a talk on CD events? I mean, you would choose CD events for the project category in the form, but where would you put it? Or do you feel another categories would be better?
I would say either observability or interoperability. Of course, it will fit in interoperability. That's no question. If interoperability would exist, then that would be a generic enough fit for all kinds of events discussions. But maybe, as we talked about in the beginning, the use cases for events could be quite different. They could be both for just observability, like the 4 keys and other things, or they could be also for driving continuous delivery, which is more of orchestration, which is something totally different, maybe more developer experience than or something like that.
Right.
So I guess there could be talks about events in several of these talks, several of these tracks, sorry.
Right.
So I don't know if there is one fit for all kinds of talks concerning events. And also security is one thing. I mean, events for security is also interesting.
But that's great, because that means whatever CD events talk one wish to give, there would be an easy box. You have boxes to take that fit, which is great, because this is basically just a way to give clear indications to speakers on what we're really looking for, you know, what we're hoping to get. And then depending on submissions, we would then form the tracks from that. So
yeah, it's good that it's not set in stone before. Like for example, FOSDEM, where there are track owners that have their rooms already done now, and you need to fit in one of those rooms. But I think also if you would like to give a presentation on CD events generally, on any kind of events in CD events, then of course it could be a bit harder to find the right place to put it. But then you might want to put it in interoperability, just to be generic enough.
right.
But there could be a talk about events for GitOps, for example. That could be one talk as well.
Right.
So events could fit in several places, I think.
Okay, excellent. And then just depending, essentially then choosing the track is left later, depending on our submission. So it becomes not a problem of the speaker to fit the form, you know, which is maybe better. Good.
Right.
Okay.
A question on this developer experience. What was the idea of putting seed events in developer experience?
I think the idea was that we are thinking in the CDF of having a little more emphasis on improving developer experience. Is something that's an area where we could contribute. And we were thinking that CD events, because they improve interoperability and reduce friction in that way, they're more positive for developer experience. Does that make sense?
Okay, but is it the developer experience of the developer that develops the code, or the developer that develops the CI/CD system?
Well, you know, it's DevOps now, so Probably more the developer who develops the CI/CD system. Yeah. But yeah, go on.
No. That was just was wondering. Okay, so that is kind of like if I'm a developer setting up a CI/CD system, then seed events would help me to do that because it helped my yeah. I just wanted to get the idea of it, who was it against and so on.
Yeah.
So maybe a feedback there could be developer experience and productivity that you state more in detail what it means by developer experience. But maybe that's not too, I mean, if you have a category, you place it in, and you as committee feels like, okay, this is a bit off, but we still want it in, you could probably move it around. So then it might not be that much of a problem.
Right. I mean, it's exactly that. One of the talks that we're really excited about, or that, and then we have space to take because there's always amazing talks and you have too many. But then we sort of take that grouping and split it out into different tracks. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's interesting.
I guess developer experience could be like what we call inner loop, or when you try the software yourself before it's committed to a SCM system. That is developer experience, which would anyway fit in a CI/CD context. Otherwise, developer experience, you could get the impression that it's about IDEs and I don't know, and that's not really CI/CD.
No.
But if it's more aimed at like automating your builds and tests in your developer day-to-day work, so to say, then it's somehow CI/CD anyway.
Yeah.
Deploy your software.
Yeah, I think we were looking at it more in terms of reducing friction, increasing automation, making it easier for developers to be more productive, I guess, and have a smoother time with that, rather than, it kind of bleeds out more than CI/CD, but still relevant for the CI/CD space, I would think.
So it's more general automation for a developer or something like that.
Yeah, but probably looking more in the CI/CD automation.
Yeah. Be interesting to see what talks will be where later on. For sure, I would like to join the conference, either remote or in person, but I can't say now that I can join in person, but we'll see.
Well, I hope you can.
Yeah. It would be great to meet each other, of course.
Yeah.
So I'm at least thinking to come to KubeCon Valencia, as it's a lot closer, and it's also, I think it's a full week, isn't it? So
yes.
It feels a bit more worth it to go, maybe, than just for 2 days.
So nice.
Yeah,
I want to go to Valencia too.
Yeah, if it's not too hot, sometimes it could be like 40 Celsius in Valencia, and that's maybe too much.
In May? Oh my gosh! Hopefully not.
Yeah, I think it has been quite early in the summer. Maybe not May, but early June. Yeah, we'll see. You never know, I guess.
Yeah, true enough.
Okay, good stuff. Good info. Good input. Thanks for sharing.
Oh, thank you for your feedback. That's really helpful.
Oh, good. Glad. Okay. What else? The last few minutes. I don't think there will be another meeting in this vocabulary group before Christmas, of course. No, because Christmas is next week. The question is, between Christmas and New Year's, where is it? The 28th of December. I will be on vacation by then. Do you have an idea, Kara, from experience earlier or from yourself, if people are working between New Year's and Christmas normally?
Whether or not people are working, I think the general good practice in open source is to give people the week off, and the assumption that in general people need a break. So
Yeah.
I think it's okay to cancel that meeting as well.
And then we would just cancel it and not postpone it 1 week and shift everything, but instead cancel it probably.
Yeah. So then the next meeting would be mid-January. Yeah, that does start to feel pretty far away.
January 11th. Maybe that's actually where the CFP will come out then for CDCon.
Oh yeah. No, it will come out the day before. Great.
Yeah. Or maybe we actually discussed this in the SIG meeting last time, that we should cancel the 27th. Oh, 28th. I think we actually did that.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's probably fine then. Okay. So yeah, we're out of time now. So
Great. Good
thanks
chatting.
for being here, Kara. Yeah, thank you. And talk to you later.
Okay. Oh, if I don't see you before,
Yeah.
have wonderful holidays.
Oh, of course. Same to you.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you too.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.